again in the circle for the Aggies.
And like we always say, Peyton knows how to get it done. She's very confident in her ability to hit spots and is able to mix speeds extremely well. She's going to keep those hitters off balance and knows exactly where to put that pitch to get a hitter out.
And we are going to get underway here with Brittany Galvez is going to be the leadoff for the Bears. Galvez, the third baseman in today's ball game, swung the bat very well against McBride on Friday. Actually started things off with a leadoff double on an 0-2 count against McBride. First pitch swinging, fouls that one off for strike one. Galvez, the junior from Corona, California. That one ripped foul. So again, a good swing right there by Galvez, but quickly down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2 from McBride, just misses on the outside part of the plate. Taking a look at your umpires today, James Colsey behind the plate, John Amelia over at first, Tom Meyer at second, and Ron Alexander at third. It is a 4-person crew for this weekend's tournament. The 1-2 driven into the gap in right center. Kylie George on the run. She's going to pick it up on the warning track. Galvez slides in safely for a double to lead things off for the Lancers.
And Galvez picking up right where she left off, just like the first game against Texas A&M. She takes a pitch that's high and outside and keeps her hand in. And if you look at the pitch before where she fouled that pitch off, she wrapped around it. But this pitch, she does a great job of seeing that it's coming back into the strike zone, getting great extension through that gap, and stands up easily at second.
That's going to bring up the shortstop, Anise Avalos, number 27. Avalos, the senior from West Covina, California, shows bunt. He's going to lay it down, but this one is going to roll foul as Bailey Klingler over at first base picks it up. Taking a look at the starting lineup for California Baptist, Galvez, of course, led things off. Avalos up to bat. Argo Mañez in the third spot with Hannah Thiroff, the designated player, in the cleanup position. And there are a few different names in this lineup than Texas A&M faced on Friday. So we'll see if they can have maybe a little bit more success than that starting lineup back on Friday. Again, Texas A&M winning the first game 9-1. Avalos quickly down in the count, 0-2. McBride doing a nice job so far. Tori working ahead in the count. That one's going to go foul, out of play. Count stays the same. Avalos, a leader on this team, started all 46 games last season, did have 4 home runs. Here's the 0-2 from McBride. Another foul ball, just gets a piece of that one. McBride did come in and pitch in the game last night against North Texas. Had the start against Northern Colorado in the first game for Texas A&M yesterday. Count now 1-2. Off speed outside, and somehow Avalos able to lay off of that one. So Galvez at second, a runner in scoring position early here for the Lancers. Here's the 2-2 pitch, popped up. This one's gonna go back to the screen. Avalos, a really nice at bat right here, Tori, just working, and staying alive.
Absolutely. The key is when you're attempting to put down a sacrifice bunt, you want to do it on the first strike and not waste any time. And she did get herself in an 0-2 hole, and so for her to battle back is a great job.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 1 for Peyton McBride. And the first out of the ball game.
And Peyton McBride just did a great job. She came through with every single pitch, and right here you'll see it drops into almost around her knees, and that makes it so difficult as a hitter to not only keep track of it going down but also in towards your hands. It's really hard to stay in longer with your hands when that ball is so close to you.
That's going to bring up Amanda Argo-Mañez, the first baseman. Argo-Mañez did not get the start against Texas A&M on Friday. This is the first that the Aggies will see of her, the freshman from Eastvale, California. Check swing. They're going to go down and ask. John O'Melia said she did not go. So 1 ball and 1 strike to Argo-Mañez. Argo-Mañez actually spent the fall of 2018 at George Mason before transferring to California Baptist. Pitch low in the dirt. Nice stop there by the freshman for Texas A&M. Catching behind the plate, Haley Lee keeps that one in front. Galvez stays put over at second base. A called strike evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Tori, if you're California Baptist right here, this is a huge opportunity. First inning of the game, you've got a runner in scoring position. And they are not taking advantage of it right there. Strikeout number 2. This time looking.
And, you know, we've talked about it plenty of times. Peyton McBride starts that ball outside of the strike zone, and you'll see it comes back, cuts right over the edge of the plate, and Haley Lee doing a great job back there framing, knowing what Peyton's pitches are going to do, and really fooling these California Baptist hitters.
So after a leadoff double, back-to-back strikeouts for McBride, that's going to bring up the designated player, Hannah Thieroff, senior from Mission Viejo, California. Thieroff, a very good hitter for this team. This one, though, a ground ball over to short into the bottom of the first for California Baptist. It's going to be the senior getting the nod today in the circle, Kelly Springstead.
Springstead is the hardest thrower on this California Baptist team, and you're going to see a rise ball from her. We should expect that. So the Aggie hitters should be going in knowing, hey, we might see that rise ball, and knowing that she does throw a little bit harder than the previous pitchers. And not to mention, she did throw a 12-inning game on Friday before the Aggies took on California Baptist. So that's why they did not see her, but now they'll get a chance to see her the speed from Springstead.
And I think the most important thing Springstead will talk about is her leadership. She's going to have to face a pretty tough Texas A&M lineup here, leading things off Blake Ann Fritsch, then Kelby Fortenberry and Riley Sarton. Bailey Klingler, the freshman, in the cleanup hole for the Aggies. Fritsch getting the start in left field today for Texas A&M, and she'll be first up for the Aggies. First pitch in there for a strike. And Tori, as I mentioned, Springstead, the heart and soul of this team, truly. When we talked to Coach Baber before the tournament, he said whether she's in the circle or not, this is a kid that her teammates look to.
And that's so important, especially as a pitcher, to have. The whole defense is looking at you every single pitch. So for her to have that kind of mentality, it does wonders for the team chemistry and team dynamic.
Fritsch able to lay off that off-speed pitch to even the count 1-1. Last season, Fritsch hit 167. The junior from LaGrange, Texas. Ground ball to third base. Galvez has got to be quick. She is. The throw is in time to get the first out of the inning.
I would really love to see some small ball from these Aggie hitters. I know that Fritsch and Fortenberry can really do their thing slapping and even power hitting, but I haven't seen many drag bunts being laid down, and I'd love to see them utilize that speed that they do have and kind of give these California Baptist defensive players a challenge.
The junior center fielder, Kelby Fortenberry, now up for Texas A&M. Fortenberry hitting .500 on the weekend. And Fortenberry, as you mentioned, Tori is one of those players who has that ability to lay down that drag bunt. She also has power. She can slap. just a ton of options.
It makes it so difficult for the corner position specifically because you do have to respect her power, but also her speed.
And there's a shot in the gap. That's going to get kind of bobbled in left field. So Fortenberry, with the speed that she has, is going to reach second safely.
And that's just a great job right there by Fortenberry. We talked about it. She does have speed, but she does have that power. And you'll see she takes this pitch up and out and just places it right in the gap. And you'll take a look right here. As she's rounding first, she sees this bobble by Perea, and the ball's right in front of her. She doesn't need anybody to tell her to go. She sees it, and she trusts her speed and is able to get into second base.
So a runner in scoring position. California Baptist was able to get a runner in scoring position back in their first half of the inning. Now Texas A&M with the opportunity. We'll see if they can strike first, and they've got a pretty good chance with who's up to bat, and that's Riley Sarton. You can see the pitching coach for California Baptist going out to talk, because Brittany Galvez knows that this is going to be a very, very tough at-bat for Kelly Springstead to face.
Very important. And for Riley Sarton, you'd never want to face her with runners in scoring position this early. For California Baptist, they're trying to limit runs early in the game, especially knowing they may not have as many opportunities as Texas A&M might with their power numbers and just powerful hitters in their lineup.
Sarton hitting .636 on the weekend. She was a perfect 6 for 6 until yesterday, and has already had 3 home runs on the season and 2 doubles.
Very casual opening weekend, I would say.
First pitch is a strike from Springstead. Gets her to chase one on the outside part of the plate for strike number 2. So Sarton quickly down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Fortenberry at second for the Aggies. Check swing, gets a piece of it and fouls it back off to the net.
There's that rise ball.
Fortenberry, a ton of speed over at second, as she's already shown. So really anything into the grass is going to give her a chance to score. Here's the 0-2. Nice waist pitch off the plate by Kelly Springstead, trying to get Sarton to chase something out of the zone. Foul ball back and out of play. So Sarton getting a piece of it, staying alive there in the batter's box, and she's such a disciplined hitter, and a lot of that comes from the way she studies the game.
Absolutely, and just studying it, but also being aware of where you're standing in the box can definitely change the perception of a pitch location when you're in the back compared to when you're in the front of the box.
Here's the 1-2. Rise ball misses. Sarton able to lay off, evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bailey Klingler on deck for Texas A&M. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. The 2-2 from Springstead. That one misses way up and out. And so now the count to Riley Sarton is full. And a great at-bat for Riley Sarton, who was down Tori 0-2 and now able to work this back to a full count.
A great eye, and Springstead's doing a great job of throwing her changeup in there. Sarton's being able to lay off that.
And that is going to miss inside. So ball 4 to Riley Sarton. And not a bad pitch by Kelly Springstead.
Not at all. I mean, as a pitcher, that's where you want to place that rise ball. You want to make it look like a strike. And knowing that it has that upspin, it makes it harder for a pitcher to recognize, hey, that might be going out of the zone. But it didn't have as much break, so it makes it a little tougher to decide earlier, am I going to swing? Is this ball going to break? Should I swing? Should I not?
That's going to bring up the freshman first baseman, Bailey Klingler, hitting .400. Does have 4 hits on the weekend. Takes the first pitch. That one is in there for a strike.
We should expect Klingler to see a lot of inside pitches here with runners at first and second. With only 1 out, they want to try to roll that ground ball and turn a double play here.
Rise ball, Klingler able to lay off, evens the count, 1-1. One of those 4 hits is a double, so Klingler has showed that she definitely has some pop. Hasn't gotten one out of the park yet, but I'm sure there will be some in the future. That one bounces in for ball 2. Fortenberry standing on second after her double. Riley Sarton over at first. Here's the 2-1 to Klingler. This one's going to be lifted into left field. It's going to hit the grass. They're going to send Fortenberry. She will score easily. Texas A&M strikes first. The Aggies are up 1-0.
And Klingler just does a great job. Like I said, we were expecting to see that inside pitch from Springstead, and just knowing that she had to get this pitch a little bit out in front to get it up and over that third baseman's head. If she let that travel back farther in the zone, it would be on the ground. You'll see right out in front of the body, able to get a little bit of lift to that and just placing it right over in no man's land over third baseman's head.
Yeah, just perfect placement right there. Fortenberry with enough speed and didn't have to guess if someone was going to catch that because she knew that that ball was down.
Exactly. It's right in front of her, so she can see it very well.
Haley Lee up to bat now for the Aggies. First pitch swinging. She's going to pop this one up. It's going to be out of play for strike 1. Lee hitting a .556 on the weekend has just been so impressive so far this year, Tori.
It's very impressive for anybody, especially a freshman, just having the first game nerves, the first weekend nerves, and just knowing how big of an opening weekend this is for you as a freshman, first time putting on the uniform. It's exciting to see these girls do well in their first appearance in an A&M jersey.
Lee has 5 hits, 2 doubles, 1 home run already on the year. Just really has done a nice job and has done a great job defensively as well. Caught someone stealing already once this weekend and has been really solid back there.
She has been. She's been covering those balls, and we haven't really talked about her much back there, and that's a good thing. We don't want to hear much about our catchers.
Off speed outside. Lee's able to lay off. Count now 1-2. Out in front of that one, but a nice job of just getting a piece of that one. That one definitely had a little bit of a rise ball spin to it and got up in her eyes.
You could see Lee was trying to over-exaggerate getting on top of that ball, which is what you want to do with the rise ball pitcher, just so you can make sure to eliminate the pop flies that they're expecting.
Lee, we mentioned, just a freshman out of Kingwood, Texas. Went to Kingwood High School. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball. This one's going to roll foul, and that's exactly what you want if you're Kelly Springstead in the circle. Try to get something to that left side. Try to turn that double play or at least get the lead runner there at third base. California Baptist getting a win last night, their first win of the weekend. It was an extra inning win against North Texas. Actually had 2 games into extra innings against North Texas. Lost the first one 7-8 in 12 innings, and then beat the Mean Green last night 6-5. And actually, with that win, Tori, it's their first win in Division I. Taking a look at Coach Bill Baber. He's in his 8th season as the head coach at California Baptist, making that jump from D2 to D1 this season. When we talked with him, he said, we talk about it. There's a rip shot into left field. They're going to send Sarton. They will not even try to throw it home, so Riley Sarton cruises in for the score. Texas A&M up 2-0.
And such a great adjustment from Haley Lee there. She got around a couple of pitches, just pulling those to third base side. And this pitch you'll see in the inside part of the plate catches a little too much plate, but she's able to stay inside that and really muscle through that great extension and knows it's in for a base hit, no doubt.
And already, Tori, we talked about how is Texas A&M going to respond after last night's loss to North Texas. And so far, you're seeing the hitters do their job.
this is all you could ask for if you're Coach Evans. You want these girls to come out here and just play ball. They know they can hit. They just have to trust their training and make a good swing on a good pitch.
Peyton McBride steps in, takes strike one. McBride getting the start in the circle today for the Aggies. A chance right here to help herself out and add to the lead. Bailey Klingler over at second, Haley Lee at first. And a strike called there. McBride, not sure if she agreed with that one. It's a little up in the zone. No balls, 2 strikes to McBride. So again, Springstead doing a nice job of working ahead. But Texas A&M hitters are doing a better job of kind of staying alive and getting those swings in. Misses with that rise ball, up and out. Springstead 11-2 in the 2018 season. This one's down the line. They're going to say it is foul, so just misses. And that probably would have scored Bailey Klingler for Texas A&M.
I think so. It was a hard shot. I think it would have ended up in the left field corner, making it a little bit difficult to get to.
Went off of Galvez's glove, but it was called foul, so runners stay put at first and second. Rise ball misses up over McBride's head to even the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A good thing to look at too here is with anything in the grass, with Klingler not having a ton of speed, they want to see, I would like to see definitely them try to be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that that ball is going to be a little bit wet when it touches the grass.
Here's the 2-2. This one will get into the grass. Let's see if they send Klingler. They're going to hold her at third. There is a slip in left field. Arbiter, when she came up, she actually slipped onto her knees. And Tori, what you just said, had they been more aggressive with Bailey Klingler, I think she would have scored.
I think so, and you'll see Peyton just punches this through really far out, probably about 6 inches off the plate, just stays through it, uses a little bit of her arms there, and just pokes it in. And you'll see Bailey Klingler get stopped at third base by Coach Evans, just knowing, hey, that ball's right there, she's right in front. But the angle she takes at this ball, she would have had to throw a perfect strike to the catcher to get Bailey Klingler out.
It's going to bring up number 24, the designated player, Abby Smith. Smith hitting a perfect 1,000 on the season so far. She does have 2 hits in her 2 at-bats, one of those being a monster home run off the video board earlier this weekend. Takes the first pitch for a ball. And Tori, you mentioned it. It is a little wet out there. We have had some mist. We have had cold temperatures all weekend, and so the players are used to it by now, being on the 3rd day of this tournament, but that grass is slick. Anytime the ball gets out there, they're going to have an issue to deal with.
And it's a little bit harder for outfielders because they don't get as much action out there as the infielders do, so their arms may not necessarily be warm, their grip may be a little bit different, and so they have to rush those plays. It might be a little bit more difficult for them to make such a perfect throw on one play every once in a while.
In the outfield for California Baptist, you've got Arbiter in left, Beck in center, and Perea in right. Smith works the count, 3 balls, no strikes. The bases are loaded, so Springstead in a bit of a jam here. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and they are going to call that one a strike. Abby Smith taking all the way. Almost thought that one might have missed up in the zone, but just caught the top of the letters, so 3-1 is the count.
In Springstead, you'll see her really utilizing that low rise, and you can see the upspin, so it's going to break up, but not quite as much as Abby Smith thought.
Popped straight up into the infield. Avalos gets under it and makes the catch for out number 2. And Tori right there, hitters count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Smith maybe getting a little bit ahead of herself, a little anxious with that swing.
Just a little anxious. I would say she should expect that rise ball again, knowing that Springstead is relying on that low rise to get strikes, and just knowing there what adjustments she has to make to really drive that pitch instead of popping up like Springstead wants her to do.
Kelly Martinez now up to bat for the Aggies, the junior second baseman. First pitch outside for a ball. Martinez, a brand new face to this Texas A&M roster. The transfer, played her first 2 seasons at Utah. An old travel ball coach called Joe Evans and said, hey, I want you to take a look at this kid. She's looking to transfer. And this was in December. So she just got to College Station a month ago.
That's incredibly late. Just thinking about how much work all these other programs are putting in all fall, getting to know each other, learning the ins and outs of each other on the field, and for Martinez to come in so late and step into such a vital role at second base is huge.
You can really see the sky kind of coming down, a lot of mist out there, a lot of precipitation. And Springstead looks like she's got control of her pitches, but she's missing the strike zone right now. Again, a 3-0 count, and we do still have bases loaded. 2 outs. California Baptist trying to get out of this first inning. Here's the pitch from Springstead, and that's going to miss. So an RBI walk for Martinez. Klingler will score. Texas A&M up now 3-0. If you're Coach Bill Baber, Tori, this is not what you want to see out of your starting pitcher.
Absolutely not. You never want to walk a run or a batter, much less walk a run in with bases loaded. So it is a little bit difficult with the rain and to get a good grip on the ball, but you can't let the rain affect you. You have to keep going at hitters no matter what. If that means you have to grab a ball every pitch, a new ball every pitch, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, and they're able to do that. That is a choice, especially with the weather the way it is right now. So Springstead going to have to deal with the wet conditions right now. Texas A&M up 3-0. It's going to bring up the 9-hole hitter, Ashlyn Walls, the shortstop for Texas A&M. Another transfer came to Aggieland from UTSA, where she spent her freshman season. And this one's going to bounce into the dirt, but a nice stop by Tucker behind the plate for the Lancers. She's able to keep that one in front of her. Springstead going to ask for another ball. And Tori, this is something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for, because you can tell Kelly Springstead really having a lot of issues right now with the grip and with the rain that's coming out of the sky right now.
Absolutely. It can be really tough on a pitcher to get a good grip. So a lot of responsibility is going to lie on Tucker to block those balls in the dirt and keep them in front.
This one's going to get away from Tucker. Klingler is going to come home. Lee is going to come home and score right there for Texas A&M, making it 4-0 Aggies.
And just like we talked about, Tucker needs to keep those balls in front of her body. And you can expect with Springstead throwing a lot of these change-up off-speed pitches that they're going to release a little bit early just with the ball being so slick, and it's going to cause it to bounce, and Tucker's going to have to do a really great job of taking care of her pitcher.
McBride and Martinez both in scoring position over at second and third. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Is able to find the strike zone on that one. Counts 2-1 to Walls. Walls hitting .429 on the weekend. Rise ball off of Tucker's glove. McBride, she's able to come home and score. So Texas A&M goes up 5-0 on another
and you'll see
pitch from Springstead.
This rise ball just gets away from Tucker. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and she wasn't expecting it. And it bounced off the umpire's mask and caused it to kind of jump back. But as you're a catcher and a rise ball pitcher, and you know that rise ball's coming, you have to be ready for that pitch.
Yeah, James Colsey back there went off of his face mask and bounced to the back screen. Ball 4 to Walls. So another walk from Kelly Springstead. And now Texas A&M has runners on first and third. Still 2 outs in this inning. California Baptist is, I wouldn't say their defense has really had the chances, because Texas A&M has either gotten a hit or they've gotten walked.
They've been doing a great job at the plate with just being patient, knowing that Springstead was having trouble finding that strike zone, and that also Tucker was having a little bit of trouble keeping the ball in front of her.
We are going to have a pitching change for California Baptist. We'll talk more about the new pitcher when we come back after this. Up 5-0, still in the bottom of the first. California Baptist has made a pitching change in the circle for the Lancers. It's going to be the sophomore Gianna Lopez.
And Gianna Lopez will throw slower than Springstead, who we just saw. So it's going to be a little bit of adjustment for these Aggie hitters, slowing it down, really letting the ball travel in deep. And you'll see Lopez working east to west, but these Aggie hitters have already seen Lopez recording 11 hits on her on Friday night, so we'll see how they get readjusted to her.
It's going to be the top of the order for Texas A&M. Blake Ann Fritsch did ground out to third base in her first at-bat against Springstead. Lopez misses low for ball 1. Springstead just unable to find that control in, 3 walks in her outing for the Lancers. Bunt shown. They're going to throw down. It's going to be cut off, but Martinez is able to get back into third safely. So a first and third play, and Walls able to get into second and in scoring position.
And you'll see Walls kind of stutters
too. And it's also a play defensively that you kind of know before the pitch even happens what you're going to do if they steal.
Yes, you always have plays that you're going to run, and the Aggies practice this, as does every college softball program. You have to know what you're doing. Every person has a role in that play, and even if it's as big as just letting them know how far the player is off of the base, it is important for your teammates to communicate with each other to let everybody know what's happening.
Here's the 2-2 to Fritsch. Ground ball to second base. Rosario bobbles it, and she will not be able to make a throw. So another run scores for Texas A&M. Martinez. So now the Aggies up 6-0.
And that's just a hard hit ball by Fritsch, and she may not have gotten the entire barrel and got on top of it, but she hit the ball hard, wraps around it just a little bit, but is able to still get a good piece of that ball, and it just hits Rosario right in the palm, causing it to kind of fumble it a little bit, and Fritsch is safe at first.
So an error on Haley Rosario. Runners again at first and third for Texas A&M, and that's going to bring up the center fielder, Kelby Fortenberry. Ripped into right field, going back. This ball is gone. Kelby Fortenberry with a 3-run shot puts Texas A&M up 9-0.
Kelby Fortenberry just showing off that power, and like we said, she has speed, but she does have power. She worked her way into this lineup last year for the Aggies and keeps on proving why she deserves to be the anchor of the outfield and such a big part of this Aggie offense. Look at this swing here. She takes this pitch, a rise ball up and in. That same pitch that we were seeing from Springstead, almost a low rise. She gets her hands above the ball. Great extension, and she just turns on this pitch and gets it out of the park.
Fortenberry with her first home run of the season. And again, just how dangerous of a hitter she is, because she does have that kind of power and the speed that she can bring to the plate as well. There's a look at hitting coach Keith Stein. Very happy with that swing, I'm sure, from Kelby Fortenberry. That's going to bring up another dangerous hitter, Riley Sarton, going back to that error at second base and how much that is coming back now to haunt California Baptist.
Errors can be huge, and especially when you have 2 outs with runners in scoring position, you need to make those plays.
The Lancers have definitely had their opportunities to get out of this inning. Just unable to come away with that final out. So still 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Texas A&M has put up 9 runs. That one just catches the outside part of the plate for strike 1. Sarton walked in her first at-bat earlier this inning, did score. And really, Sarton went down 0-2 in that first at-bat. Springstead ended up walking her. That's kind of when we saw Springstead start to lose control.
I was just about to mention Riley Sarton had a great at-bat. Springstead was changing speeds and changing levels. She was using that changeup and that low rise, and Sarton was able to lay off.
This one down the right field line. On the run, a diving Perea just off the glove. Great effort out there in right field, but it will just result in a foul ball. Riley Sarton stays alive to see another pitch.
And that's great effort right there, especially in this situation. You have 2 outs, nobody on, but a big hitter up at the plate. You want to do anything you can to get Riley Sarton out, and she put a lot of effort out in laying out for that ball, but I would have liked to see her increase her speed a little bit on that dive, maybe giving her a better chance of catching it.
Here's the 2-2 from Lopez. Popped up high, shallow center. Avalos makes the call and the catch. So California Baptist finally gets out of the inning, but not before Texas A&M puts up 9. A big home run shot by Kelby Fortenberry. We'll be back after this. This season.
I think that's kind of expected from a lot of coaches, just knowing how many people are no longer with the program, whether they graduated or transferred or left the program, and just knowing they are young, but they're expected. So they're kind of the underdogs in a lot of games, which not is always necessarily a bad thing for them.
A defensive change for the Aggies. Kayla Garcia now at second base as she'll replace Kelly Martinez, the freshman from Katy, Texas. Haley Rosario up to bat for the Lancers. 1 ball, 1 strike. And if you're Peyton McBride, you're now coming back into the circle with a 9-run lead. Does anything change about your game plan?
I think if anything, it just makes you feel you don't have to be as perfect. She knows that she's going to hit her spots, but sometimes there is a little bit of pressure. Okay, I have to get my curveball 6 inches off, or wherever she needs to place that pitch. But now they have a little bit of wiggle room. They don't necessarily need to be perfect in every single play, and it takes a little bit of pressure off.
Rosario with that crucial error in the last inning allowed Kelby Fortenberry to come up to bat and hit a 3-run shot, which just increased that lead even more. Kind of trying to make up for that here with this at bat. The count is 2-2. And strike 3 looking, the 3rd strikeout for Peyton McBride on the day.
And man, Peyton McBride just does a great job of making that pitch start on the outside of the strike zone, coming right back in. You'll see Haley Lee did not move her glove. She knew exactly where it was going to be, and not only did she get a great spot, she also had a great speed. Didn't try to speed it up, and she trusted her stuff because she knows it's pretty nasty.
Let's bring up the freshman right fielder, Shelby Arbeiter. Arbeiter, another one who did not get the start on Friday against Texas A&M. Freshman from Redlands, California. Just gets a piece of that one, even the count, 1-1. And even that pitch right there, to where you saw so much movement on the ball from McBride.
And you could probably hear it better than you could see it, but it got it off the very end of the bat. That just means that she's pulling off of this pitch, and the ball is still getting to her as she's finishing her swing.
Misses low and outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. We've seen 3 Texas A&M pitchers this weekend: Peyton McBride, Hannah Mayo, and Caleb Pointer. We have not seen Kendall Potts yet. She is a transfer in this Texas A&M roster, a senior by class. Junior by class. Counts 2-2 to Arbeiter. That one misses up and out. And McBride not looking like she's having as much issue. I think there is, it's not raining anymore like it was when Springstead was pitching. McBride having a little bit better control over these pitches.
And also McBride, that is her trick of the trade. So she's pretty good at hitting her spots when she needs to.
Arbiter doing a nice job of battling in there. Another foul ball. Keeps the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That's right. If you're California Baptist, you're down 9-0. As a hitter, what is the mindset when you are behind by that many runs?
For me, my mindset would just be hit a strike and put a good swing on it. I mean, even though you know a home run's not going to help you in this scenario, but you just want to get a barrel on the ball. Good things happen when you put a barrel on it.
This one over to short walls with the ground ball scoop, and a nice job by Klingler over at first for the second out of the inning.
And Peyton McBride just doing a great job keeping the balls low like you want to do. It doesn't help when you keep your pitches high, and hitters are allowed to get under them and kind of get some power on them, but this ball was low. Couldn't do much with it right there, and just a routine play for Walls.
And a nice stretch by Klingler right there. I mean, it's a throw we expect her to catch, but as a reminder, she's a third baseman by trade, and first base is still a very new position to her. Tori, that's the transition you had to make when you played at Texas A&M. And obviously, besides just being on a different side of the field, what has she had to learn about first base?
There is so many things that people don't realize how tough it is to be at first base. There's so much different footwork, and you have to communicate with all your infielders, and just knowing how each of their balls tail on certain throws and certain plays that they're going to make, and just knowing that your job is to make them look good and make it look easy for all of them. So that's difficult to do if you're not used to it.
McBride quickly ahead of Alyssa Beck. The count now 1-2. Beck gets the start at center field today. Another freshman for the Lancers out of Fontana, California. Strike 3 looking, and that one just absolutely froze Beck. It is the 4th strikeout on the day for Peyton McBride, and the Aggies go back to bat with a 9-run lead. 9-0 over California Baptist as we head to the bottom of the second. It is the final day of the Aggie Classic, and the weather has looked a little bit like this all weekend long. The players having to combat the cold temperatures and a little bit of rain as well. Up first for Texas A&M, it's going to be the freshman first baseman, Bailey Klingler. Klingler 1 for 1 on the day, hitting .455 for the season. Gianna Lopez in the circle for California Baptist. Kelly Springstead did get the start, however did not make it out of the first inning after Texas A&M just continued to get base hits and string hits together, and then Springstead having a little bit of an issue with control as well. Klingler puts this one out into right field. Perea on the move. She'll get under it and make the catch for out number 1.
And Bailey Klingler not getting quite all of this ball. She's just on the end of her bat. It did kind of sound like it was going to go a long way at first, but just pulled off a tiny bit, resulting in a pop fly to right field.
It's going to bring up the catcher, Haley Lee. Lee also 1 for 1 on the day with an RBI single back in the first. Just misses low on that one. Evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lopez did start the first game against Texas A&M on Friday. That was a 9-1 victory for the Aggies. Ground ball to first base, scooped up by Argo Mañez for the second out. So California Baptist doing a nice job here in this inning of making 2 quick outs.
The last thing you would want to do is give another big opening for A&M to score a lot of runs. So Lopez is doing a great job right here, keeping the outs quick and the runs to a minimum.
It's going to bring up the pitcher, Peyton McBride. McBride 1 for 1 on the day, hitting .667. Off-speed pitch in there for a strike from Lopez. We mentioned earlier, too, how all the different roles that Peyton McBride plays, and pitching, obviously being one of them, hitting. She can also play first base and is an option there for Texas A&M.
She is, and I think the good thing about the A&M team this year is on defense, they have so many different options.
A shot out into center field, bobbled by Beck, but not enough to get past her, and so McBride will get a single, a 2-out single here in the bottom of the second.
And McBride showing another role that she can play as a hitter right here, just taking this pitch right up the middle, back at the pitcher, right over her head. A great swing right there, nice extension, and just making her way over there to first base.
And I mean, that ball was a screamer into center field. I say Beck bobbled it. It kind of hit her. I mean, you could see her kind of dancing around out there in center field. And I think that one kind of got a piece of her thigh or leg, and she definitely didn't feel great after that one. It is 47 degrees right now here in College Station, so anything is going to hurt a little bit more. Believe it or not, it's warmer than days 1 and 2 of the Aggie Classic. Abby Smith up to bat. 0 for 1 on the day. Popped up to the shortstop during her first at bat. And Smith, a catcher defensively, but talking to Coach Evans, said she's still kind of dealing with an arm injury, so we would not see her defensively this weekend, but is somebody that they want to use in pinch hit situations, and here today getting the start in the designated player position. Smith with a monster home run in the first day of games, hitting the video board out in left field of Davis Diamond. Coach Evans happy with what she's seen from Smith so far this weekend, giving her the start in today's game. Here's the 2-1. This one lifted out into center. It's going to be shallow enough to fall, and McBride, nice base running, able to get into second. So a single from Abby Smith moves McBride over to second, and Texas A&M with a little 2-out rally.
And Smith just getting a little bit, just enough of that pitch to drop it in the Bermuda Triangle, as we like to call it. You'll see her pulls off just a little bit, but is able to keep her bat getting through the zone and stays on it just enough to make good enough contact for it to get into the grass. And like you said, great base running by McBride to see that ball down really early.
Well, in 2 outs, McBride running on contact, so that also helped. She didn't have to guess where the center fielder was going to get to it or not. We're going to have a pinch runner for Abby Smith. Kylie George, who was actually playing defense for Smith, so they're able to flip-flop right there. George over at first, and McBride standing at second. Kayla Garcia now up to bat for the Aggies as she came in defensively in the top half of this inning. Garcia, the freshman from Katy, Texas. Kylie George getting the start in right field today for the Aggies. And that one misses low and outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the 2-0 to Garcia. That one does catch the corner for strike 1. Kayla Garcia, kind of one of those infield players that Texas A&M might need to use in multiple positions this season.
And like we were talking about earlier with Peyton McBride, she could play first, and that would be a viable option for their defenses to move a couple people around to make a strong, solid defense, and Kayla Garcia would be a part of that.
This one gets past Tucker behind the plate, so the runners will advance. Tucker just kind of let that one get through under her glove, and so now 2 Texas A&M players in scoring position. I think sometimes when the score is so lopsided, it doesn't matter if you're on the losing or the winning side, you can kind of get unfocused, and that's almost what looked like happened to Tucker right there.
You stop paying attention to the details, which is the most important part.
This one fouled off, so now the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Garcia. Gianna Lopez making sure the ball is dry enough before she gets ready for the next pitch. Again, it does look like the rain has stopped, something that Kelly Springstead really had to deal with during the first inning. Big reason for her control issues. Line shot down the left field line, but just foul. Galvez with a nice attempt to try to stab that one, and went wide of the foul line.
Galvez getting a lot of foul balls over there.
Texas A&M lefties doing a nice job of going with some of those outside pitches, and then the righties doing a nice job of turning on them as well. So yeah, a lot of action on the left side of the field today. Here's the payoff pitch. Garcia stays alive, getting a piece of that one. California Baptist got the first 2 outs of this inning, and then Peyton McBride with a single up the middle. Abby Smith with a little blooper single to follow that up. A pass ball advanced the runners to second and third. Here's the 3-2 from Lopez. Driven out into the gap. This one's going to get through. 2 runs will score. Garcia with a 2-run double. And the freshman showing off some power.
And they say young like they haven't played this sport before. They know what they're doing in the batter's box. And Garcia did a great job of fouling that pitch off beforehand inside, and then stays right on this pitch and takes it back up the middle. And just what a beautiful swing. Oh my goodness, I could watch it on replay all day. Just driving it right into that gap and scoring her teammates.
And Tori, we talked about it before the broadcast, before the game. As a hitter, you like a full count.
I love a full count.
And why is that? What is the mentality going into something like that?
You either hit the ball or you go back to the dugout. So I really want to just hit the ball, and it takes the guessing game out of it. If it's a strike, you're swinging.
Ashlyn Walls, the shortstop, now up to bat for Texas A&M, takes the first pitch for a ball. Texas A&M increases the lead to 11. That one's in there for a strike. Walls walked during her first at-bat. That one misses low and outside. So 2-1 to Walls, and I think, Tori, this is where if Walls gets on, we might start seeing some different hitters getting some chances right here. Texas A&M with an 11-run lead. This is where Coach Evans likes to use substitutions in order just to get some game experience.
I agree. I think with so many question marks, especially still in the outfield, it's giving these hitters a chance to show what they have and demonstrate, hey, I can hit the ball too. I don't want to be left out of this scoring party.
And it's so important, especially in these tournaments in the beginning of the season, to see as many pitches as you can, get some of those reps, get that game experience, especially with so many new faces on this roster. It can only build confidence. Even if you go out there and you maybe don't get a hit, you don't get a home run, but just to feel more comfortable.
Just standing in and just seeing a live pitch other than pitchers on your own team that you may see every day in practice is just so beneficial. Even if you don't get a hit, you could get walked. Even if you strike out, it's just so beneficial to see that pitcher.
This one up the middle, a nice scoop by Avalos. Will the throw be in time? It's actually going to be wide. Garcia will score, and Walls will advance to second. So a nice diving play by Avalos, but just couldn't make the throw over to first.
Avalos made a great play right there, fielding that through the legs of Kayla Garcia. You'll see this ball is off the bat. Keep it short and simple. Avalos almost off of her back foot, and the first baseman, Argo Martinez, is really trying to stretch out and get that pitch, but falls over and can't quite handle that throw.
And they are going to score it as a base hit, so Ashlyn Walls with an infield single did advance to second because the throw got away from the first baseman. And we are going to have a pinch hitter for Blake Ann Fritch coming into the ball game. Is going to be number 1, Tadria Sinney, the freshman from Nevada, Texas. Tori, what does Sinney bring to the plate?
A lot of speed, so much speed. Tadria Sinney is, from what I've heard from some of the players and some of the staff, is one of the quickest people they've ever seen play the game of softball.
And that's saying a lot with some of the players that have been around, especially this team. Yeah.
Kelby Fortenberry is very fast. Blake Ann Fritch, Maddie Yatzlaw, just so much speed. And for them to give her that kind of compliment, I'm really excited to see what she can do with her short game.
Takes the first pitch for a ball. Ground ball right back to Lopez, and she's able to make the throw in time. So 3 outs for the Lancers, but not before Texas A&M put 3 more on the board. The Aggies lead 12-0 going into the third. Texas A&M up 12-0, and Peyton McBride in the circle. Tori has been lights out.
Absolutely. She's using all of her pitches. She is no stranger to freezing hitters, and you'll see she's doing it with a curveball. She's doing it with a changeup. She is getting it done. What a beautiful outing by Peyton McBride.
She's got 4 strikeouts on the day. She's got 8, 9, and 1 coming up for California Baptist. First up, it's going to be number 88, the catcher, Cheyenne Tucker. Tucker's swinging on the first pitch. Really good contact, but foul out of play. Tucker, the senior from Arlington, Texas, getting to come back to her home state for the tournament this weekend. Tucker spent 2 seasons at Phoenix College. She grabbed back-to-back NCAA All-American honors, so a very successful junior college career. Good eye, watches that one low, counts 2-1. Tori, we've talked about pitchers who also hit and what their mindset is. Sometimes for a catcher who's used to scouting hitters, calling pitches, maybe not always calling the pitches, but knowing what the game plan is, they can also kind of have a different mindset going into the batter's box.
Absolutely, and for catchers, they should also know the strike zone really well because they're communicating with the umpire. Maybe if they're not getting a pitch that they want for a strike, they are going to ask the umpire, hey, was that low, was that out? You know, and so they're constantly in communication with that umpire, so they have a really great idea of what the strike zone should be. So when they do get in the box, they are very locked in on that strike zone, and they know what is a strike and what isn't.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Tucker. Right at Ashlyn Walls for out number 1.
Solid barrel there, just happened to go right to Walls.
Yeah, you got to be happy with that swing if you're Cheyenne Tucker, but good job by Walls just to make the routine line drive catch.
Didn't even have to take a step. But right there, you can't get down on yourself for that one. That's a great at bat and a great solid contact. It just happened to fall into a glove.
Sophia Perea up to bat now for the Lancers. First pitch, swing and a miss for strike one, the senior out of Stockton, California. Didn't get a ton of playing time last year, appeared in 8 games last season. And I think we talked about some of the question marks for Texas A&M. All the teams here this weekend are still kind of trying to fill some holes, figure out where they're going to end up with that starting lineup. Perea down 0-2, grounds this one foul. Coach Baber's trying to make the stop there with his foot and got past him.
A lot of different methods down there at third base for coaches. Some try to stop it, some try to field it like they're playing.
Some just let it go.
Oh, yeah, some just get out of the way. But that's why you see Coach Evans with her helmet.
Yeah.
She will field some balls now that she has her helmet on.
Yep. Here's the 0-2. Off speed, just misses outside, and that's that dangerous pitch that we've seen break in enough to get into the strike zone. So if you're a hitter, it's almost like you're just guessing, is this one going to end up on the plate or is it not?
Exactly, but that's what Peyton McBride does so well, is she's able to hit that spot, so she's able to make you second guess yourself and think, is it going to be a strike?
Just like that one right there, 5th strikeout on the day for McBride.
And you'll see the pitch before, she threw it a little bit out, making her guess, is this going to be a strike? And then she brings this one just a couple centimeters back in for strike number 3.
Now the only Lancer hitter to reach safely back up to bat, Brittany Galvez, started this game off with a double. It's going to start this at bat off with a strike. Galvez swinging the bat very, very well, at least in the 2 games that we've seen them play Texas A&M.
Leadoff double, I'll take it.
The problem is, in that situation, your leadoff hitter can be as great as possible, but if you don't have people behind them to move them around and get them in, then you can't do it all by yourself. Galvez definitely has the power to hit a home run, and she can definitely do that, but California Baptist finding themselves in a pretty deep hole right now. Screamer down the left field line. Baber kind of had to, Coach Baber ducked. That one came off the netting and looked like it almost got him. What I like about Galvez, too, is she tends to get down in the count. She'll have 2 strikes on her most of the time and still is able to get some really nice, solid swings. Ground ball over to second. Garcia off the hop. Easy routine play over to first for the 3rd out of the inning. Texas A&M coming back up to bat, trying to add to this 12-0 lead. Welcome back to Davis Diamond in College Station, Texas. Texas A&M, a commanding 12-0 lead over California Baptist right now. Welcome you back into the booth. Chelsea Reber along with Tori Vidalis. Tori, we talked about what A&M needed to do today to bounce back after last night's loss. What have you seen so far from the Aggies?
I've seen a lot of confidence. I would have never come into this game guessing that A&M got run-rolled last night, and we talked about that mentality of needing to come in make good swings, swing at good pitches, and just have fun. And you can tell that's what they're doing right now, scoring all these runs.
Gianna Lopez trying to stop the bleeding here as she had come in for Kelly Springstead, who got the start for California Baptist. But Texas A&M hitter is just proving to be too much right now for what the Lancers have to offer. We are going to start seeing, I'm assuming, some substitutions already right here. In to hit is going to be one of the freshmen for Texas A&M, Maddie Yatzlaw. Yatzlaw, this will be her first collegiate at bat. She has seen some action this weekend in the pinch runner situation, the pinch runner role. Freshman out of Giddings, Texas, wearing number 12, which if you're an Aggie, you know that's a pretty big deal, something that Coach Evans asked her specifically to do. Lopez misses outside. The count 2 balls, no strikes. Yatzlaw hitting for Kelby Fortenberry, who had a pretty darn good day, a double and a home run.
Extra base hits.
That one misses way inside, so Yatzlaw way ahead in this count. 3 balls, no strikes. Both of her parents are Aggies, grew up around Texas A&M and wanting to be an Aggie from the beginning. So a leadoff walk to Maddie Yatzlaw. Gianna Lopez not able to find the strike zone during that at-bat. And it is just a walk, but if you're Maddie Yatzlaw, how is that a sense of relief? Like, okay, I got the first one out of the way.
I think it's just such a cool moment in general to have your first collegiate at-bat. And to be up 12-0, it kind of does already take the pressure off knowing, hey, I'm not in a game-winning situation here in my first at-bat. But now she can be a little bit more relaxed now that she's on first base.
Riley starting up to bat for Texas A&M. 0 for 1 on the day, walked in her first at-bat, popped up to the shortstop in her second at-bat. So looking for that first hit of the day. Hitting .583 so far on the season. Already has 3 home runs. Fifth ball in a row from Lopez, so struggling to find that control. Riley Sarton, the lone senior on this roster for Texas A&M this season. Ground ball to the left side. Nice scoop by Avalos, backhanded, and makes the throw in time.
And that's just an overall great play right there by Avalos. Riley Sarton just getting around this ball, creating a weak ground ball, and just goes to the shortstop, and Avalos just takes it off of her back foot and makes a great throw over to first. You'll see right around the ball, topping it, creating that ground ball. Avalos backhands and just gets rid of it so quickly, and then a great stretch over there by Argo Martinez.
I've been really, really impressed for that shortstop Avalos for California Baptist. She's had a lot of plays over there, and it's made some really, really nice defensive plays. Bailey Klingler steps in the box for Texas A&M, takes the first pitch for a ball. Klingler 1 for 2 on the day. Had a single in the first inning, flew out to right field in her second at-bat. Does have an RBI on the day. Check swing, this one is going to be foul. I think it surprised Klingler that she made contact.
I'm sure she's glad that one went foul.
Tori, you mentioned when you come to Texas A&M as a player, you guys do something pretty cool. Y'all write letters to former players who wore your number. So therefore, Bailey Klingler actually wrote you a letter this season.
Right. Coach Evans is really big on just creating your legacy and knowing those who came before you. And I did receive an email from Bailey Klingler just talking about how excited she was to start playing for A&M, wearing number 8, being in the maroon and white, and just knowing that I've actually known Bailey Klingler for a little bit. We're from around the same area, and just being able to kind of pass that along and pass the torch to her, I'm just excited to watch in her 4 years with A&M.
Here's the 2-1 from Lopez. Off speed, catches the outside part of the plate for strike 2. Really nice pitch there by Gianna Lopez. She's at 49 pitches. Yatzlaw over at second with speed. Klingler puts this one into right field. It's Arbeiter out there in right field, makes the catch and gets it in. Yatzlaw stays at second.
And right there, I would have liked to see Yatzlaw tag up. She sees that ball going to right field, knowing she has speed. As soon as Arbeiter creates or touches the ball, she's able to take off, and knowing that she does have that speed, she would easily be in at third.
So 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. We're going to see another pinch hit situation. It's going to be Kayla Pointer, the sophomore out of Loganville, Georgia, stepping in for Haley Lee.
Up to the plate for the Aggies, pinch hitter number 6, Kayla Pointer.
Pointer, one of the pitchers on this Texas A&M team, but also a very good hitter in her own right.
A very strong hitter. I just want to let you all know she hit a ball off the PDC, the building straight behind center field, not too long ago in practice.
The PDC, the Player Development Center.
Correct.
Has a weight room, really, really nice facility, something newer that you guys, when you were here, actually got a chance to use for at least a year.
All four.
All four, okay.
Yeah. And you'll see that 220 right there, right above the Texas A&M. She hit it about, let's see, how far would you say that is? At least 260 probably?
Maybe,
and
yeah.
on top, probably 300, a ball 300 feet.
Yeah,
Raw
she crushed
power.
it. 2 balls, no strikes to Pointer here. That one misses low. So 3 balls, no strikes to Pointer. And right now, Lopez just, again, struggling to find the strike zone. And it's tough when you're trying to pitch around some of these more powerful hitters. But at the same time, you're down by 12 runs. You've got to get outs.
Absolutely, and that's really what they're trying to do right now is just throw those outs, even if they get a barrel on it, hoping it goes to someone to make a good play.
Ball 4 to Kayla Pointer on 4 straight pitches. She'll head down to first after the walk. Still 2 outs. Now runners at first and second for Texas A&M. The Aggies scored 9 runs in the first inning, 3 in the second. California Baptist has had 2 errors on the day, which has not helped at all for the Lancers. Coming up to bat, it's going to be the pitcher, Peyton McBride. McBride 2 for 2 on the day. First pitch bounces low inside. Again, this is the first season for California Baptist to play in the Division I level. A very good Pac West Division II team last season. Finished their year 35-12, 25-7 in conference play. They will not be eligible for postseason for a few years, just part of the deal when making the jump from D2 to D1. And when talking to Coach Baber about the strategy and do you change it, and he said a little bit, you know, there's going to be some pitchers and catchers that we have to pay attention to. We might not be able to be as aggressive on the base paths because of who we're playing and the level of play, because it's the same game. Ultimately, we're all play on the same field and we all swing the same bats, and you know, the speed might change, but for the most part, we just got to go out there and play softball.
And that's typical, a message that you would say to your high school seniors that are coming into their first year of collegiate softball, is just that it speeds up.
Peyton McBride rips this one into center, over the head. It's gone! McBride with a 3-run shot for the Aggies. And they go up 15-0.
And McBride just giving herself more calls to play a huge role on this team this year. She takes this pitch right over the outer half. Wow, the extension on that swing is so beautiful. And you'll see right there, staying connected, getting a nice finish, not cutting her swing off too early, driving that ball right back up the middle, and it is a home run.
Look at Beck watching it go over the wall. Both Pointer and Yatzlaw scoring on that home run. We're going to see another pitching change for California Baptist coming into the circle. It's going to be number 48, Sydney Truitt. Truitt, the freshman from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Someone that, when talking to Coach Baber before the tournament, Tori, he said, we won't see a ton of innings from her this weekend, but I do want to at least put her in a little bit, get some of that game experience. How important is it for a freshman pitcher to just get out there and, again, get a feel for things?
It's so important. Even though they're down 15-0, just pitching in this environment, in this stadium, it's a huge stadium to look at when you're directly facing it and you are the center of attention as the pitcher. And so just taking this ball and really owning it, going at these hitters, even though you have nothing to lose at this point. You're down 15-0. All you want to do is attack hitters and try to find outs. And just her getting this experience now and not as much pressure may give her a little bit of kind of confidence going down in the road when there are games that really do matter and they're super close.
Truitt in high school did earn 4 first-team All-District awards as a pitcher. Did have a lot of success in high school, but again, we mentioned same sport, but obviously a different level of play, especially depending on where you played in high school.
Very different. The game just speeds up. It is the same game, and I had that mentality coming in my freshman year, I may be a freshman and I may be young, but I can still play, and it does hit you kind of like a wall of bricks, You're not expecting, and you're playing against so many talented players, and they haven't seen talent like Texas A&M yet, and moving up to D1 this year, it's going to be kind of a shock to them, but I think that they're going to do fine, especially getting this experience.
Abby Smith steps in for Texas A&M. Smith 1 for 2 on the day, had a single back in the second inning, takes the first pitch for a strike. And Tori, anytime a new pitcher comes in, when you're the first hitter to face that pitcher, what is your mindset?
Well, first thing I want to do is to make sure I'm getting my timing while they're taking their warm-up pitches. I think that could be crucial in just your timing and overall being ready for the first pitch. And
this one popped up into foul play. Galvez with a stab at it, but unable to make the catch. So strike 2 on Smith. Nice try by Galvez right there, up against the net of the Texas A&M dugout, but just unable to make the grab. So 0-2 to Smith. That one just misses low, but you could see I'm going to have to watch Truitt. The grip that she had on that ball definitely looked different, and that ball just kind of died right out the end.
Off speed of some sort. Curious to see how she's holding it in her release.
That one misses way up and out. We talk about how the game has evolved, and pitching has changed too, in the sense of drop, off speed. Like there's not just like your basic 4 pitches. There are so many different things that pitchers can use now.
I think it just comes down to just learning so much about pitching and the mechanics of pitching and how to use your hands to manipulate the different spins and how to get it to break. And there are pitching coaches that just devote their life to coaching these kids and learning the science of pitching, and it's the same thing for hitting, and you learn so much more as we get farther just into life and into hitting and pitching and everything of the game. You are able to break it down and just get a little bit farther, and that's why I think our sport's progressing so well.
2-2 to Smith. Driven right back up the middle. Avalos comes across. This one's going to be wide. Smith is going to turn for second. So another Good start of a defensive play by Avalos, but unable to make the throw.
Abby Smith just poking that ball in there, almost the exact same play that we had earlier. You'll see this ball was not hit very hard off the end of the bat, and Avalos just comes off, trying to get rid of it quick, and the throw is a little bit wide. I would have liked to see that first baseman, Argo Manez, come off the base a little bit earlier, preventing that ball from getting past her and getting another runner in scoring position.
Kylie George will go run over at second. And what a great use of the lineup, now that I'm thinking about it. Abby Smith hitting, Kylie George playing defense, and able to flip into that position without burning a substitution. And so you can basically have a free, fast runner for Abby Smith when she does get on base.
And that's the beauty of Peyton McBride pitching and hitting for herself, and Abby Smith not necessarily being someone who's going to run for herself when she is put in the game defensively as a catcher most likely. And so having speed of George to be able to kind of sub in and out freely and without burning her, meaning she's subbing in more than one time. And so that is a huge help for the lineup and just the speed on the base path.
Kayla Garcia steps in for Texas A&M. This one is going to bounce, get away from Tucker. George, very aggressive base running, slides in safely to third.
And that was a great slide there. She saw that throw coming in and just slides around the glove of Galvez, and it's just good base running right there by George.
So a runner at third, 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Texas A&M has put up 3 runs in this inning. Sydney Truitt in the circle for the Lancers. Rise ball misses up and in. 3 balls, no strikes to Garcia. Check swing. Gets just a piece of it for strike number 1. Garcia 1 for 1 on the day, hit a double in her last and first at bat. Kelly Martinez started the game for Texas A&M over at second base. Ball 4 to Garcia. She'll head on over to first. So Texas A&M will have runners at first and third with 2 outs. We had a first and third situation earlier in this ball game, and we saw the second baseman, Rosario, cut off the throw down to second. So they had a set play defensively, kind of a set play offensively. We'll see what they decide to do here with 2 outs.
I doubt we'll see much movement from the base runners here, being up 15-0. I don't think that they need to run a play. They're already plenty ahead of this California Baptist team, so I don't expect Coach Evans to send Garcia here.
We're going to have a pinch hitter for Ashland Walls. It's going to be number 3, Megan Smith, the freshman out of Lake Jackson, Texas. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Megan's twin sister, Morgan, also on the team. Morgan got to see some playing time yesterday, got the start. One of the games for Texas A&M. Pretty off-speed pitch right there. Freezes Smith. She takes it for strike number 2. Megan obviously hits from the right side. Morgan hits from the left. Here's the 0-2 from Truitt. Ground ball to the third baseman, Galvez, with a nice stab and the throw in time. A nice play by Brittany Galvez to end the inning, but Texas A&M put up 3. The Aggies lead 15-0 after that home run by Peyton McBride. The 20th ranked Texas A&M Aggies with a commanding 15-0 lead over California Baptist as we head into the 4th. This Thursday, we'll have a Valentine's Day women's college hoop doubleheader. Number 12, South Carolina hosts Georgia at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Then Missouri is in Starkville, Mississippi to take on the number 6 Mississippi State Bulldogs. Both games are right here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app, so you can watch them anywhere. This is the time of year, Tori, where you've got softball, baseball starts next weekend, women's and men's hoops both going on. Just a lot of stuff going on in college athletics right now.
A lot of traffic, a lot of work hours put in by the broadcast crew. Shout out to you guys putting in some work behind the scenes.
Texas A&M, again, a commanding 15-0 lead over California Baptist. The Aggies trying to improve to 4-1 on the season. We are going to have a pitching change for Texas A&M. We will see the fourth pitcher of the weekend for the Aggies. It's going to be number 13, Kendall Potts.
Kendall Potts just staying true to that speed that she has, the hardest throwing pitcher on this staff. Really going to be able to get on these California Baptist hitters, not seeing the speed from Peyton McBride like they'll see from Potts here.
Potts, a junior from Arlington, Texas, has had an interesting journey to Texas A&M, I guess we can say. She started her career at Baylor. She actually did not play last season in 2018, suffered an injury in 2017, which has kind of just put her on the mend for, quite a few months, really.
And luckily, being such a kind of puzzle piece year for A&M, she came in at the perfect time, needing a really power pitcher to help out these other spinny pitchers and complement them for the A&M pitching staff.
Anissa Avalos will be the first Lancer to face Potts. She's got a 2-1 count. Avalos 0 for 1 on the day, was a strikeout victim of Peyton McBride. That one misses high and outside, but you can hear the pop of Lee's glove, and it just goes to show how hard that Potts is throwing.
She does throw extremely hard, but her key is going to be staying ahead of hitters, not getting too deep into counts and just going at them with strikes, not giving them an opportunity to stay patient.
There's the 3-1 pitch. That one is in there for a strike to make the count full. And when talking with Coach Evans about this pitching staff, Tori, she said it's going to be pitch by committee, not many of these pitchers, really anyone, do we necessarily want to see go all 7 innings of a game. And it's really a matter of being strategic of who pitches when, how long we keep them in there, and then who follows who.
Exactly, and just pitching by staff, they know that they don't have any big strikeout pitchers that are just going to strike out 18, 19 people in a game, and just pitching by committee just gives you so many more tools to use, and using Potts, using McBride and Mayo and Pointer, and finding a good recipe for all of them to get through a 7-inning game and using all of their strengths and really playing into them.
Here's the 3-2 pitch from Potts. Ground ball. Ball's over to first base for the first out of the inning.
And A&M's been doing a great job of just keeping those routine plays and making those plays and not doing anything too big, just playing the game as it comes.
And we asked Coach Evans, what are your goals for your pitching staff, for your offense, for your defense? And defensively, she said, make the routine plays. The big catches, the crazy plays, those will come when they're supposed to, but you have got to make the routine plays if you want to compete. First pitch swinging, a little blooper into center field, and that one will fall for a single. Amanda Argomagna is the first baseman, able to get the first swing in there for a single. And that one just kind of landed in no man's land, and an aggressive first pitch swing by Argomagna when she hasn't seen Potts yet.
That is, but I think a lot of that comes from watching the hitters before her and just understanding what Potts is throwing, knowing that she's going to be a little bit quicker and jumping on that first pitch.
We're going to see a pinch hitter right here for the Lancers. It's going to be number 17, Juju Dorado, the freshman from Garden Grove, California. Swinging at the first pitch as well, but she misses for strike one. And already I can see that rise ball by Potts is going to be something that she's going to rely on heavily this season. Gets a piece of that one. Dorado now down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. And we mentioned, Tori, for Texas A&M, using some of these substitutions, trying to get some players into the game, getting that experience. It's the same for California Baptist. Even though they're on the flip side of the score, you're down 15-0. Let's let some other people get some reps in.
Yeah, there's really nothing to lose at this point. You are down 15 runs, and you're just trying to get some runners on base, make something happen. And if your hitters aren't making your adjustments, let's try some other people in there, see if they can get something going.
Check swing by Dorado. They checked down over to first base, but John O'Melia said she did not go around, so the count is 1-2. Ground ball, slow roller. Garcia flips it over to second. Walls with the throw to first in time. And a double play. The 4-6-3 double play gets Texas A&M out of the inning. The Aggies still lead 15-0. A dreary day in College Station, but the home team happy about this 15-0 lead headed into the bottom of the 4th. Wednesday, we'll have our next men's college hoop doubleheader, and it starts at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, with the #1 ranked Tennessee Volunteers hosting Frank Martin's Gamecocks in Knoxville. Then it's Ole Miss and Auburn. Both games are right here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app, so you can watch them anywhere. Sydney Truitt in the circle for California Baptist, the 3rd Lancer pitcher that we have seen on the day. For Texas A&M, Tadria Sinney is going to get things started. Sinney 0 for 1 on the day. Grounded out in her first at-bat. Takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. That one's in there for a strike, evens the count 1-1. And Tori, you mentioned Sinney, a ton of speed, something that Texas A&M is used to having at the top of the lineup, somebody who can just make something happen.
I'd really like to see Sinney right here, just maybe something like a soft slap and really make it a foot race between her and the ball.
Here's the 1-1, fouls that one back to the net. Sinney, one of the 10 newcomers to this Texas A&M roster. Check swing. This one gets away from Tucker. Ball 2 evens the count. A little bit warmer today, the final day of the Aggie Classic. Still got players bundled up in the dugouts, both sides, extra coats and jackets, and pretty much any kind of layer you can find at this point. Here's the 2-2. Misses low and outside. Nice at bat so far by Sinney right here. Fouled off a couple of balls, able to work that count full. You mentioned Truitt, the 3rd pitcher of the game for California Baptist. They started their senior, Kelly Springstead. She couldn't get out of the first inning. Brought in Gianna Lopez, and now Truitt. Ground ball to the left side. Avalos makes the play. A very quick Sinney, but because that ball right at Avalos made it a little bit easier for her to make that throw in time.
And that's where I would have liked to see that soft slap. She hit that ball pretty solid. It got to Avalos pretty hard, and still was a very close play at first base, closer than they probably would have liked. But if Sinney maybe just brought it back down a little bit, just get a little tap on that ball, and really gives herself a chance to get on base.
It's going to bring up the freshman Maddie Yatzlaw. She walked in her first collegiate at bat. Takes the first pitch for a strike. And we mentioned it earlier, Yatzlaw wearing number 12, a number that Coach Joe Evans asked her to wear because of the way she represents this team and she represents the sport and, more importantly, the school. 12, a very important number in Texas A&M tradition. Off speed in there for a strike. Maybe looked a little high, Tori, but a nice pitch right there by Truitt.
Yeah, you can see at the end of that off-speed pitch, it just kind of falls off the table a little bit, which makes it a little bit more difficult to find in the strike zone. And when it does drop so late, it's really hard to recognize as a hitter.
0-2 to Yatzlaw. Able to check on that one as it rolls in. It almost looks like a knuckleball that she's throwing.
It does. I thought I saw a little bit of a knuckle whenever we were watching her circle and the release of it. I can maybe see a little bit of a knuckle. It's a little bit far from here, so I'm trying to recognize it. But
it's spinning more than a knuckle should or would, but that's definitely what the grip looks like. Here's the 1-2. Screwball misses outside to even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Did you see many knuckleballs when you were hitting in college?
No, not at all.
Yeah. It's definitely not a popular pitch to have in your pocket.
It's a very hard pitch to throw.
This one popped up to the shortstop. Avalos gets under it for out number 2. I had a pitcher in high school that threw one, and she had pretty decent control over it. Played at Rutgers after her high school career, but it's a really tough pitch to throw, and honestly, it's pretty obvious when you say, I mean, we can see it from up here as a hitter. Can you see that grip on the ball?
Sometimes. A lot of hitters look at different places, so some people will watch the arm all the way around. Some people will watch solely just the release point. Some people will watch just not even the release point. They're just watching the ball. So they're not watching the hand and how the hand is curving or making the ball move. But as a hitter, it's really fast, and you're not thinking, oh, a knuckle. Like, I see her knuckle, you know. So some hitters are very talented in that aspect that they can track the ball so well, but it is pretty difficult to see as a hitter.
Another pinch hitter for Texas A&M. Gabby Moreno steps in. First pitch swing and a miss for strike number 1.
Just taking a look at this pitch right here, she's stopping her hand, and you'll see she keeps her momentum going with her arm and just kind of releases it as like a push, not really spinning her fingers off the ball, which is creating that speed, the change of speeds, and allowing these hitters to be so fooled because you won't recognize that until the ball gets halfway home.
And you're already swinging at that point. Gabby Moreno, first at bat of this game, is hitting .400 on the season. Counts 1-1. Check swing. Able to hold back. 2 balls, 1 strike. Moreno, the sophomore from Montgomery, Texas, had 8 at-bats last season, hit .375, is one of the better hitters on the team, according to Coach Evans, coming into this season. And she's one of those players that is kind of fighting for one of those starting outfield positions. And a lot of that is going to be up to how well she bats in the lineup. Lifts this one into center field. Going back is Beck at the warning track. It's going to stay in the park, but Moreno is going to go to third. Evans is waving her, but she's going to stop at third. A triple for Gabby Moreno off the center field wall.
You see the strength of Moreno right there and just making solid contact with that ball. And the center fielder, Beck, just not knowing what to do with this pitch. It's so close to the wall, off the warning track. And when she gets back, beautiful swing, gets all the way through the ball. Thinks there may be a chance. You can see some of her teammates kind of celebrating there in the background. But as Beck is going back to this wall, she gets a little bit hesitant of the wall, gives up on this ball, and it takes a bounce off the wall, allowing Moreno to run into third.
And Moreno showing off her speed. I mean, the bounce definitely helped, but for a minute there, I thought Coach Evans might try to send her home. Definitely decided to hold her there. But 2 outs, that's going to bring up Bailey Klingler. Takes the rise ball for ball number 1. We talked about proving yourself and fighting for that starting position. That's a great at-bat for Gabby Moreno, especially coming in off the bench. You're not warm. You haven't been in the game, but using that opportunity and taking advantage of it. Misses outside for ball 2 to Klingler. Klingler is 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single back in the first inning, has Popped out to right field in her last 2 at-bats. Check swing, unable to hold back. That is strike 1, and just a dirty pitch right there by Truitt.
And Truitt's doing a great job of keeping this ball low. You'll see Bailey Klingler already decides she's swinging until she decides, oh, it's too late. And by that time, her bat's already come around through the zone, and that will go down as a strike.
This one just misses low. A nice job by Truitt right there. She's asking, where was that? Because it really looked like it was right at the knees, but didn't get the call.
And that pitch right there is what is allowing that changeup to work so well, spotting it in the exact same location, making it difficult on a hitter to recognize the speed and the spin of that pitch.
3 balls, 1 strike to Klingler. She rips this one into right field. Arbeiter doesn't have to move much, though. She's there for the catch and the 3rd out. Texas A&M scoreless in the 4th. They lead 15-0. Texas A&M's bats have been red hot on this Sunday.
And Texas A&M offense just showing off their power on all cylinders. They're taking inside pitches, outside pitches, all fields with power, and you'll see they are just crushing the ball today.
Multiple home runs on the day for the Aggies. They lead 15-0. Peyton McBride and the rest of the Texas A&M team are 3 outs away from the run rule victory over California Baptist. Kendall Potts in the circle. The first time we've seen her, she did pitch in the last inning, but first time we have seen her this season for Texas A&M. She will face Rosario, Arbeiter, and Beck for the Lancers. Actually, we're going to have a pinch hitter. This is going to be Molly Colander, the freshman from Danville, California, hitting for Haley Rosario. Takes the first pitch for ball 1. Ground ball to the right side, scooped up by Garcia. Routine play for out number 1. Tori, I've been impressed with Kayla Garcia. She didn't start this game. Kelly Martinez did, but Garcia getting to come in and then play second base. And she's made the routine plays, but that's what they're asking of her.
Kayla Garcia is just taking her opportunities when they're given to her, making routine plays, and even getting hits on the offensive side.
Another pinch hitter for the Lancers, number 12, Mackenzie Buttinger, the junior from Chandler, Arizona. Has gotten significant playing time this weekend. Buttinger played the last 2 seasons with Coastal Carolina. Counts even at 1-1. First base, kind of a question mark for California Baptist. Talking with Coach Baber before the tournament, said Buttinger had really kind of stepped up during the offseason, and someone that he expects to see a lot of playing time this season. Strike 2 from Potts. That count is 1-2. Pitching coach Kara Dill giving the signal out to the circle. Behind her, Lexi Smith, former Texas A&M softball player and pitcher, helping out with the team this year. That one just misses for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And speaking about Lexi Smith, has really just kind of been the right-hand man for Coach Kara Dill, helping with the pitching staff, but also helping pitch to the hitters for Texas A&M.
Pitches every single day in batting practice, giving these hitters another look.
Buttinger fouls that one off to keep the count 2-2. Ground ball up the middle. This one will get through. A 1-out single from Mackenzie Buttinger.
Potts trying to use those long arms there to reach out and grab that that ground ball, but just a little short of that, letting it roll into center field.
Yatzlaw out in center field for Texas A&M. Scoops it up and gets it back in. Another pinch hitter for California Baptist, number 18, Manoa Weigertza, senior from the Netherlands. Takes the first pitch for a ball. Weigertza played in 23 games as a junior, made 14 starts last year for the Lancers. Takes a strike on the outside part of the plate. Again, Texas A&M 2 outs away from inducing the run rule victory. It is 8 runs after 5. All of Texas A&M's games this weekend have ended in 5 innings. Pop up on the right side of the field. This one will drop in front of Smith in right field. She bobbles it, but gets it in. So Budinger advances to second in a little Texas leaguer by Weigertza. California Baptist has something going on with runners at first and second.
And you'll see this pitch right here just getting in on the handle, but she's able to muscle it out there into no man's land, like you were saying, right in front of Morgan Smith. Just nice little single there, muscling it up and finishing the play.
It's going to bring up Cheyenne Tucker. Tucker 0 for 1 on the day, but had a really nice line drive swing right at Ashlyn Walls in her last at-bat. Tori, we talked about when the score is this lopsided, paying attention to the little things and the details. So you're a fielder right now out there. What are you still you're just going through the same mindset before every pitch that you normally do?
Absolutely. You're making sure you know where you're going with the ball before you get it, knowing what plays are available, what runners are on, what their speed is, what the hitter's doing, all of that.
Throw down to third base is in time, and they are going to call her out. So that is going to be Budinger, who is thrown out at third. This ball gets away from Lee, but she's still able to make a strong throw down to Klingler, who is now at third base.
You'll see this ball hit the mitt of Lee, and a great throw. Klingler making the tag. Ball pops out of the glove after the tag, according to the umpire, and that will be an out. But that's a great job by Lee, making the tag for Klingler, making it easier to apply a tag.
Yeah, an interesting call there by Ron Alexander over at third base. He did rule that Klingler had control of the ball when she made the tag. And it was almost on the lift up of the glove, showing him that she had it, is when it popped out.
Right, but if you're Cal Baptist right now, that is not a good decision. You're down 15 runs. You just want runners on. We don't want to be overly aggressive if you're a runner, and when you do that, you're causing yourself unnecessary outs and just making it easy on Texas A&M.
We're going to have another pinch hitter for the Lancers. It's going to be number 5, Deanna Alarcon, the junior from San Dimas, California. Started in 44 games as a freshman, only started in 4 last season. So as a junior, still trying to work her way back into this starting lineup. Two outs for Texas A&M after they caught Budinger stealing, or trying to steal. Runners at first and second. Strike 1 to Alarcon. Cheyenne Tucker did draw the walk, which put her at first. Kendall Potts just trying to get one more out. That one misses up, even the count, 1-1. Just gets a piece of that one, fouls it back, make the count 1-2. And Tori, if you're California Baptist and the game ends like this with another out or two, or if another out if Alarcon is able to get on safely, what do you take away from this tournament, and what do you go home and work on?
I think just making the little details count. I mean, in the first inning, we saw Galvez get a leadoff double, and then Avalos just couldn't lay down that bunt, and that's such a huge part. That's routine softball right there, laying down that sacrifice bunt, giving Argo Martinez a chance to hit a sac fly, get a base hit, something to get your team on the board. It always gives you a little bit more confidence, especially playing a team like A&M, going into the first inning, being ahead of them already as soon as they get a chance to start hitting.
The 2-2 from Potts. Ground ball back to Potts in the circle. She makes the throw in time for out number 3. Texas A&M going to win this one 15-0. Tori, what impressed you the most about the Aggies' performance today?
The way the Aggies bounced back today, they pitched a great game, and also Potts coming in, seeing a little bit of her, hitting her spots, getting the job done. But then you see the score and you automatically know these bats were on fire today. They came out swinging, ready for a little bit of revenge, kind of wanting to take that loss back and not letting it get to their head, just coming out there, putting some good swings on the ball and having a lot of fun with their teammates.
For Tori Vidalis and our entire crew at 12th Man Productions, I'm Chelsea Reber saying good afternoon from College Station, Texas. Once again, our final score, Texas A&M 15, California Baptist 0. To watch a replay of this game, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of the SEC ESPN Network.